Hey, BF lovers of BF, lovers of freedom. We are the sisters, the daughters of truth that resides here in the USA, and we wanted to converse as usual. We meet once a week to talk about the things that matter to our people. So hopefully you can join us. Today our topic is the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. So hopefully people can begin to understand exactly what is written in this, because the white people like to put things in writing and we don't go and read it. So this would be an opportunity for us to read this and indict them on what they wrote, you know, and hold them accountable. So you can't go and write all these things in your so-called charter and none of them is applying to our people. So this is a way for us to hold them accountable so that when you approach them, when you write them, you can write intelligently, you can quote their words, you can call it out and number them like they did. They have Article 1 to, is it 27 sisters or 42?
46.
46. So yeah, so we can let them know that we're educated too, not just educated to clock in and clock out and make money in America, but that we've read the documents that apply to our people and we are going to hold them accountable to make sure those things come to pass. So again, my name is Mona Chimzaga. I live here in Houston, Texas, and I have my other sisters. Sisters, please introduce yourselves.
My name is Augusta Nosike. I live here in Richmond, Texas, and as usual, we're here to open our minds, our hearts towards our restoration. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Sister
And my name is Wada Namadi. I bring you greetings in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Amen. As usual, we don't get anything started without saying, calling our Lord the maker of the universe, the one who decides it all, the ultimate decider of our lives. So, Sister Ukwe, please help us out this morning.
Okay, I'll try. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this morning. We bless your name. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to our people and for us to have a mind, to rub our minds together. It is not by power and it's not by might, it's by your spirit. We pray, oh God Almighty Jehovah, that as we hold this program today, that your presence will be mighty in our midst and you begin to speak to our hearts. And Father, Lord Almighty Jehovah, the world is going through a critical phase. We pray, oh God, at the end of all this, that your will, oh God, will be what will be preeminent. We pray, mighty God, that you strengthen those that have lost someone, those that are in pain, those that are in sorrow. Pray that you comfort them. Father, give us the wisdom to go through this phase. In the mighty name of Jesus, we have prayed.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Today we are talking about the UN Declaration on the rights of on the rights of indigenous people. We're going to start off by, of course, telling you guys what declaration means, which is a formal or explicit statement or announcement. A formal or explicit statement or announcement. This thing was written by the UN. Um, in June of 2007, if I recall. Six, 2006.
Yeah.
So hopefully we wanted to pull up the document for you guys so that you can follow. The affirmed date actually is September 13, 2007. So I'm going to attempt to post a link so that we can, what the heck is this? So you can follow along with it while we are talking. We posted this on our thing last week so that people can begin to understand these documents, because this is some of the things that some of us are lamenting about, this information written here by the UN. So it's very important. Thank God it's online. It's free, it's online. We can actually go and read it and follow it line by line. I am trying to put a copy online. So that we can follow as we read. Okay. So did it come through, sis?
Let's see.
Understand?
Did it come?
So, that's on the Facebook, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to post the link on there, and I want it to be the same one. Let me find the same one that we are using to post.
Did you post it as a comment and pin it there?
You know, I wanted to post the link. I don't think you went through. I can't find it. I wanted to post the link, so let me. Um,
Can you put it as a link and maybe tag it to the? Is it possible?
Or maybe we can post that later.
no, I think it's okay to post it now so they can follow us as we read.
They can follow us as we
Yeah,
go.
I mean, can you copy it and paste it like a comment, like on Facebook as a comment?
As a comment, yeah, okay. Let me do that. Let me copy it and post it as a comment. So hopefully that will help our people to follow what we are saying. Okay, so here is the document. Copy. Okay, so I think I've posted it. I don't know if you guys have seen it. So that's the link that we are using. We put up this thing online as well. It's the UN Declaration on the Rights of on the Rights of Indigenous People. So it's in there as well. So if you click on that link, sisters, do you guys see the link on comments?
I see your Utoma. You know, it takes a while to pull up. Come on.
Okay, so anyway, it's there. And we just wanted to have a rundown on it today. And I'm glad that some of you have joined us. Please, let's share this with the rest of our people. We've told you guys that declaration is an official statement or formal statement that is made by UN on the rights of indigenous people. So this thing was affirmed in September of 2007, like we said earlier, and that the information here is attributed to every one of the indigenous peoples. They use the word peoples all over the world, and they are affirming that the indigenous people in the exercise of their rights should be free from all discrimination of any kind. They are concerned that indigenous people have suffered from historic injustices as a result. As a result, their colonization and dispossession of their lands, territories, and resources, preventing them from exercising, in particular, their right to development in accordance with their own needs and interests. So this is one of the things that they have mentioned in at the beginning of this document. They also recognize the urgent need to respect and promote the inherent rights of indigenous peoples, which derive from their political, economic, and social structures, and from their cultures, spiritual traditions, histories, and philosophies, especially their right to their lands, territories, and resources. So one of the things that we highlighted on this was the fact that they know that the colonial masters they have really uh, destroyed our land, taking us back, by taking things that we're supposed to use to take care of ourselves. They've taken it to take care of themselves. So they're recognizing these facts also. They're recognizing there's an urgent need to respect and promote the rights of the indigenous people. And they affirm this in treaties, agreements, and other constructive arrangements with the state. State means the sovereign nation where you are, where you find yourself in. So that's another thing. When you hear the word states here, they're talking about your nation or the so-called nation where you are located. They also have here that they welcome the fact that indigenous people are organizing themselves for political, economic, social, and cultural enhancement in order to bring to an end all forms of discriminations and oppression wherever they may occur. So the reason why we're going line by line with this, like we said, this is up to 46 articles that they have implemented. Huh?
Yeah, so yeah, starting from Article 1, yes.
Right, starting from Article 1.
So they can go through their formation.
Right. So if you're clicking on this, I am on page, right now we are going to the first article, which is on page, if you're following the one that I just, the link that I just put in, so which is on page 7. So the Article 1 states that the indigenous peoples, remember they're using S with their peoples, indigenous peoples have the right to the full enjoyment as a collective or as individuals of all human rights and fundamental freedoms as recognized in the Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the International Human Rights Law. That's the Article 1. And then the Article 2 recognizes that indigenous people and individuals.
Yeah, sorry, quick one, Sister Mona, before
Yes.
the Article 2. We discuss as we go so that they will follow.
Right.
You understand?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, like what you have already said, you talk about principles of justice and democracy. These are the foundations they have set on ground already. Principles of justice and democracy. We are not the ones trying to teach them afresh. It's already there. They talk about respect for human rights, equality, non-discrimination, good governance, good faith. All this is already, we are not trying to teach them. They saw the need, like Sister Mona said, that there's urgency for our region, for Africa, to be what Africa ought to be. They recognize all this already. They know what colonization did. They know what terrorism is doing because of lack of good governance. They know all this already. And that's why they went as far back as 2007 to make a declaration. And like Sister Mona said, it's an official statement. They're not joking, they're not just suggesting it. They sat down, know there's a problem, and this problem very soon, and this problem is what is causing war, all these things. They sat down and made a declaration. And they said this declaration, they want to respect the rights and freedom of other people. They want to respect the fundamental freedom for all. But this fundamental freedom we are talking about, it has to be guided by already determined law and international human rights obligations. These things have to be guided. You won't just come out from one corner, jump and say this, jump and say that. It has to be coordinated. It has also to be non-discriminatory. So it's not what you do for this person is what you do for this person. You will not say because this person is like this, maybe the person is white, you have to do this way, or the person is black, it has to be this way. Right. It has to be the same across border. They went ahead, like Sister Mona was trying to read the affirmation, which would say, because of time, let our people read it by themselves. That the indigenous peoples are equal to other humans all over the world. This affirmation, when somebody says, I'm affirming, that means I'm agreeing with you. We are not arguing it.
Right.
I'm agreeing with you that the indigenous peoples in Africa or anywhere they are located have equal rights with other peoples all over the place. They recognize that. But while recognizing that, they also know that people are different. So that you have that right, you're also different. The indigenous people are different, individuals are different. Then they talk about concern. Like Sister Mona said, they are concerned, which is that there's a setback. Because that was their problem. It's a concern. When someone said, this is my concern, there's a setback as a result of what colonization did in our place. The historic injustice in our place is a concern to them. They're also concerned about it. The way you're concerned about it, they are concerned about it. They talk about recognition. And then they welcome that attitude that Africans or all the indigenous people that are coming together saying we want to have a political a system that works. We want to put I want to enhance our development. We want to bring to an end all form of discrimination and oppression wherever they are found or whenever they are found. Somebody said these are the things we have set up our minds to do. You are not informing them. You are not putting them on notice. They know.
They know already.
They know already.
Already.
And they presented a guideline that you will follow. By the time you come with this need, by the time you recognize that you need this thing, this is the guideline you follow. Now, Article 1, Sister Mona has read. We will follow it article by article. Like Sister Mona said, so that we understand, we will be on the same page. It's important to us that we will be on the same page so that people are not jumping uncoordinatedly here and there, doing things that waste our time. The world is urgently waiting for us to fix our region. They're in a hurry because they have investment in our land.
Correct.
So if we are stable, it will help them to be stable. Look at what Corona is doing with the economy. They want a stable economy. They want to take care of their people. They love their people. So they are urgent. They're in a hurry, just as we are in a hurry. Sorry, Sister Mona.
No. I like this. Absolutely. The good thing is that they have affirmed most of these things that we are talking about. It's already in a document. And it's there for us to read so that we are not confused about what was said and what was not said. So there's no where on this one. It's in the document, and like you said,
it's on black and white. Somebody said it's already written in black and white.
So you don't have to where this document. Follow that link that we sent you, and right now we are on page 10. Article 2 says that indigenous peoples and individuals are free and equal to all other peoples and individuals and have the right to be free from any kind of discrimination in exercise of their rights, and in particular, that based on their indigenous origin or identity. And then the Article 3 went further to say that the indigenous peoples have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Sister Augusta.
Yeah, go ahead with Article 4.
Okay. Article 4, indigenous people in exercising their right to self-determination have the right to autonomy or self-government in matters relating to their internal and local affairs, as well as ways and means for financing their autonomous functions.
Yeah, I'll come in here, Sister Muna. As that Article 4 rightly said, it said that the indigenous people, they have right for their own self-determination. They have right to their own autonomy. You understand? And this brings us to the fact that an Igbo man cannot go to an Ijaw man and take his oil and offer it to the British or whatever, or whomever they want to offer it to. You cannot do that. Everybody would have their own autonomy to do what is right for their own community, autonomy to do what is right for their own, because we have different cultures somehow, so to speak. So we also have probably different languages as well. So you don't come and you tell everybody, oh, you have to be on me, and whatever I say is what will apply to everybody. So there is no need for you to go there without their own prior consent. The Ijaw man would allow you to take it if you ask him. The Shekiri man will allow you to take it if you ask him. The Yoruba lady will allow you to take it if you ask her. So you don't go and you say, hey, because they are under you, because you can determine what happens, then hey, whatever you say would be. Remember, it also talks about autonomy functions that the individual community have to carry out. And the money from their own community is what will finance that for those functions. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Without that, they would be perambulating. So we don't want that. So for an indigenous person to stay, they have to have their own culture. They have to take care of their own internal affairs. their own local affairs, and they have to have the finance to be able to go through this. So there is no one person coming to say, "Hey, you." It was what the British
Colonial master.
colonial masters. They brought you. They brought Hausa with a different culture entirely. Igbos with their different culture and Yoruba with their different culture. I said, you are joining. You are Nigerian. You understand? So this cannot happen if we have different indigenous people fighting for their different indigenous areas. So when we do that, when we separate, go our separate ways, we should be able to finance. We should be able to, engage in our local affairs by ourselves, not somebody telling us what to do. So thank
Absolutely,
you,
sister.
Sabrina.
Absolutely, sister. So this again is affirming what they already know. Article 5 said that indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, legal, economic, social, and cultural institutions while retaining their right to participate fully, if they so choose, in political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state. State here again is a nation, is a sovereign nation. Every indigenous people has the right, or the indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. Indigenous individuals have the right to life, physical, mental integrity, liberty, and security of a person. They also have the collective.
You're supposed to talk about the Article 5 and 6. Sister Ekwi.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was waiting for her to have a break.
my dear,
So
break me, oh, break me. My mouth is running fast.
Sister Amuna wants to just take us tomorrow. I say no. Let's break this thing down small. So that I will be able to eat it. You know, like when chicken is feeding the chicks, you take small bits, bite it, put in the mouth of the child, the chick, or you say eat, it will enter. So small. So I like that right to a nationality. You see, when we talk about indigenous peoples here, we want our people to understand that even in the area called Nigeria, we have a lot of indigenous peoples.
Exactly.
It's not one indigenous people. Indigenous peoples. We have a lot of them in that place. So all these things we are reading, whatever you're doing to free yourself, you have to respect the rights of other indigenous people.
Nationalities, exactly.
Because they have right to nationality as well.
Exactly.
So you're thinking, if I come out of this group, what will happen to the other group? What will they be while we are gone? It cannot be that selfish and say me.
Mm-hmm.
Just my own nation. Then the whole can burn to ashes. UN will not allow you to do that. The world is becoming like a global village. Because even with this coronavirus, we know that when one mistake in one village can cause catastrophe in the whole world. Because we are more connected now. It's not like 100 years ago when you go to one locality and do something, it will not affect anyone. The world has become a global village. One mistake in one point can spread to the whole world. So the world, even with this coronavirus, after this event, the world will be smarter, the world will know better, and the world will police themselves better. So that anybody is doing any nonsense in one corner, they will come and say, hey, boy, stop that you're doing there. You know what wahala. So the world has learned a bitter lesson. A bitter lesson of that human beings are all equal, irrespective of your money, your wealth, or everything. We breathe the same air. So all humans are equal. We have learned that. So in us seeking freedom, we must respect that other indigenous peoples around us have rights to their own nationality. That we will not set up our own nation and burn their own nation down.
Exactly.
We have to get these things right. Please go ahead, my sister.
Thank you, sister. I'm trying to repost the document. Someone is asking that I pin it, which is a good idea. So let
Yeah.
me find that particular one so we all can be on the same page so I can pin it. Um, Give me 1 minute. They have different versions of it, and the same thing, but different pictures and different pages and all that stuff. So I'm trying to post this particular one, and it's seemed to be a little bit challenge here. UN Charter of Indigenous People. See if the one that we are using will come up. I'm doing it for my cell phone. I was doing it for my cell phone earlier, but I'm not able to pin it on my cell phone, so I need to find it on a laptop so I can pin it. So I'm not sure. Um, let's see if it's this one. Okay, people, let me finish reading. While Sister Augusta is talking, I'll try to do this so we don't lose the momentum. Yeah, so let me do that. I will continue to post it on my,
that's the 7 now.
yeah, I'll continue to post it on my phone, and hopefully, once I get the chance, I'll be able to post the thing on and pin it. All right. So on Article 6, indigenous people has the right, or indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. That's the one that my sister just finished talking on. Article 7 said that indigenous peoples or individuals, they have the right to life, physical and mental integrity, liberty and security of a person. They also have the collective right to live in freedom, peace and security as distinct people, and shall not be subjected to any act of genocide or any act of violence, including forcefully removing children of the group to another group.
Yes, that's a very, very, very important part of this article. That the indigenous people have the right to life, they have the right to enjoyment, they have the right to physical and mental integrity, liberty, and security. They also have the right not to have the Fulanis come and kill us.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? They have that right. The Fulani do not have any right to come to our community and kill us. And the funny thing is that there's even a sponsored, a government-sponsored Boko Haram Fulani X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
They maim, they massacre, and they want to take over our lands. When they do that, they have done what the UN Charter said they shouldn't do, which is try to take away the indigenous people's property, the indigenous people's lives, the indigenous people's lands. They can't do that. They can't do that. They come here, they remove our people. You see, and the government, they came through this, their ruralization. They came using Ruga. That was the method that they have been using. They come, they settle in a small community in our lands, and before you know it, they sweep us out of our lands. So the Fulanis cannot continue to perform genocide. We've been telling UN, we've been telling everybody, and they know this. We've been telling everybody I care to listen, that this is genocide. That they are killing us is genocidal, but for some reason they are not paying attention. So we want everybody to know that the Fulanis do not have the right to come to our community, take over our community, take over our families, take over our lands, and continue to kill us in the process. They do not have that right. And that is why we have to continue to follow the protocol, the laid down rules for us to get our freedom. There are laid down rules. There are laid down system, protocol. The UN Charter, you follow certain protocol. And this is part, and that is why we are taking our time to explain article by article what we need to know, so that we can get this our freedom in a clean slate without any form of war. So we cannot allow the Fulanis to come and stay in our own lands and take over. No. The indigenous people are not supposed to allow that happen to them. So that is all about Article 7. Continue, sister.
Yes. So the Article 8 went further to say that indigenous peoples and individuals have the right not to be subjected to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. So this goes back to what my sister just mentioned. We don't want the Fulani, we do not want to be forced to assimilate within the Fulani because we have nothing in common. And there is no, if they are coming to even bring prosperity, then it's okay. but they are coming to maim, kill, and destroy. So we are not interested in working with people that are coming to kill us. That's not what we want. We want people that will work. They will. How do you say it again, my sister? We will synergize. We synergize
Yeah.
and help each other. Not the ones that are coming with one agenda of killing our people. And then the Article 8 also has a second part. It says that states, which is the sovereign nation, shall provide effective mechanism for prevention and redress for any action which has the aim or effect of depriving them of their integrity as distinct people or of their cultural values or ethnic identities. He also went further to say that any action which has the aim or effect of disposing them of their lands, territories, or resources. So he's saying that the state, this nation must have a redress, they must have an answer, a solution for any of these things. The action of them depriving the indigenous people of their integrity as people and depriving them of their cultures and ethnic identities, any action that would dispose them of their land and territories and resources, and any form of forced population transfer which has the aim or effect of violating and undermining any of their rights. Let me read this again. Any form of forced population transfer which has the aim or effect of violating or undermining any of their rights. Then the D part says any form of forced assimilation or integration, and E, the same of 8, Article 8, any form of propaganda designed to promote or incite racial or ethnic discrimination directed against them. I can almost say that the one of forcing us out of our land is so true to us. When you go to the eastern part of that zoological nation of that cattle republic, they make it very hard for our people to succeed. We don't have roads, we don't have water, we don't have anything. Anything that you see functioning in that part of the land is done by individuals. As they are telling our people now to sit at home and stay home, are you telling them to stay home? You have not provided for them. For my people to go out there, for my people to stay in home, they have to leave their home. A whole lot of them have to leave their home to fetch water. Water is an essential resource that is lacking in our land. For my people to eat, they have to go to the market to sell. You don't have electricity for my people to buy refrigerator and pack things up for 2 weeks or however months you're planning to have them sit indoors. And you see, these are the same violation over and over again. We are being called third world country, third world country. But when you have an outbreak like this coronavirus now, do you see how the third world country will not be able to contain and work and do what you want them to do? Because they don't even have the foundation yet to begin to embrace something like this. And again, it's a typical violation of that indigenous people that we're talking about. Sister, go ahead. I think I heard somebody's voice before I go off.
No. We didn't say anything. We're just saying, yeah, support to what you're saying. You know, for you to do certain things, because we're saying that the world has become a global village, like the coronavirus you mentioned. You quarantine them. You don't provide the social amenities that they need to be quarantined. Mm-hmm. Now, this virus, you finish dealing with it in other parts of the world. They're still being incubated in some other parts. It will spread back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what have you done? So you see what we're saying? That the world has become a global village. It's no more okay to abandon Africa.
And call it third world country.
I'll call it third world and then say, I don't know what is happening there. It's bad governance. It's this, it's that. No. Because whatever happens in Africa will spread to the whole world.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So if this virus, for instance, is not contained in Africa, if you finish in the West, it will go back. It's like somebody finished sweeping. You finish sweeping. Breeze will blow the thing back to where it's wet.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So it has become very, very important at this moment. Very critical. Not even just important. Critical. That Africa, the indigenous peoples in Africa, be taken care of. All we are asking for is the right to nationality. This declaration has been made is for it to be implemented. It has been made. So we're insisting that it should be implemented because we want to protect our people. We want to provide social amenities for our people. And we have the resources.
And we have the resources. We have the resources, for God's sake. That someone is sitting in his house somewhere in France and drinking red wine and eating cheese, and you are taking resources from some other land and labeling them third world country. With this coronavirus, third world country is not going to allow you guys to remove that virus because it's impossible. That label, third world country, will not allow you to get rid of this virus because they don't have, like my sister said, they do not have the social amenities to embrace this. They cannot sit home. I watched a documentary in India that someone did, a neighbor did, and sent out to the world. And these people, do you know the government, as wicked as this Chinese, communist government are, they were bringing resources. You know, every day you go out and you will see someone that they will hand you your water. You will go back to the house. So you're not going to quarantine my people or tell them that they need to be quarantined when you have not given them the resources. Quarantine how? A mother with 8 children, how is she going to feed her 8 children if she does not go to the market to sell? Is there any light where you can say, okay, at least, even if the government killed a lot of meat or whatever and say people to take, where are you going to keep it to start with? The right of indigenous people again is being violated because with this coronavirus, they will not be protected because the foundation and the resources are not there. Yet we have the right. Go ahead.
The sister, if I may even comment, the resources, in all honesty, the resources are actually in Africa. That is where the foreign government or the Western world get all their resources.
No, but you're not touching it, so it's not there. If you
they're not letting us tap what is ours. They're not letting us take what is originally our own. They're not letting us tap into it. And that is why laying emphasis on the indigenous peoples, we are saying peoples with an S, because there are a whole lot of nations within a nation. That is how they carved us. And that's why it's so difficult. As you rightly said, the guy in France sipping red wine or white wine or whatever, cognac, whatever they eat, they can self-quarantine themselves. But at home, who is going to self-quarantine? Who? Is it my late grandmother? Who is going to self-quarantine at home when there is no form of resources? But yet, we are in the midst of plenty. Plenty. Things that belong to ours. They won't allow us have it. That is why we want this our nation. We want just give us a nation that we can build and make ours. That is what we are asking for. Nothing more, nothing less. So we have these resources. The same resources that we have is the resources that they are taking for free. They take for free. They try and modify it, turn it into something else, and probably ship it back to us. It doesn't make sense. Ginormous amount that the ordinary human cannot afford. It's so crazy. So we need that freedom. They should start thinking about it. This corona will colonize everybody very soon.
The judgment of the Lord is upon us.
It won't stop. It has actually taken effect in Africa. And the way it's spreading in Africa is so dangerous. It's
My
so
dear,
dangerous.
listen to this. When you tell somebody to self-quarantine, remember, people don't live in individual apartments like here. You live in a yard.
Exactly.
You live in a yard with 50 other people. You're using the same kitchen with 50 other people. You're using the same yard with different. Even if you want to sit in front of your yard, you're sitting with other 500 other people. Do you see why you cannot be calling Africa a third world country? Because it will circle back. And the so-called China is there doing business and stealing us more resources. We have not recovered from the one the colonial masters stole. Now the Chinese people have injected themselves in there and stealing more and bringing these diseases to a place with no resources for us to sustain ourselves during this period. Indigenous people's rights. The right of indigenous people. Do you see why we have to shine our eyes and understand what's going on? Do we see we have to fight and get a table on where decisions are being made so that people are not going and getting a encyclopedia. They were writing something there and telling their conscience, oh yeah, I've given the indigenous people's rights. I've given them rights. They have the right to this. They have the right to die. They have the right to live in a shithole country. They have the right for their resources to be stolen.
Taken away.
Yeah, those rights have to be implemented.
Those rights have to be implemented.
Because they have become critical. Like the coronavirus we're saying, it has come to bite all of us because there is really, even if quarantine yourself, then you come out again. The reinfection will come again. So
exactly.
You cannot afford to abandon Africa. It has become critical now that we discuss these things and implement them. Please, what number are we? So that we don't lose track of time.
Yes, sisters. Oh, are we for my people? Article 9 said that indigenous peoples and individuals have the right to belong to an indigenous community or nation in accordance with the traditions and customs of the community or nation concerned. No discrimination of any kind may arise from the exercise of such a right. And 10,
read 10 too, please.
Yes. 10 says that indigenous people shall not be forcefully removed from their lands or territories. No relocation shall take place without the free, prior, and informed consent of the indigenous peoples concerned, and after agreement on just and fair compensation, where possible, with the option of returning back to their land.
So you see, these things are already there. They have written it down. They say no relocation of people without prior consent. Both where you're moving them from and where you're taking them to, there has to be agreement. And it cannot be forced. There won't be forced assimilation. You can't force anything. It's the law. It has been declared. That's what it is. You cannot displace the indigenous people. You don't have the right to. You can't bring Fulanis and use them to displace Nigerians. It is against the UN declaration that has already been made and signed into law. It's already signed. You can't do it. At that place, you cannot move Iwanke people, Asaba people, into Biafra or any other nation you're calling without them having a period and agreement. It is against UN declaration.
They have to sit down, actually, Sister Ekwe, they have to sit down and discuss these issues. Not you declaring it on radio. Hey, Ibanke is Biafra. Hey, Shakiri is Biafra. They have to sit down, agree with these other indigenous nations. So that, hey, if we are going to be a Biafra at the end of the day, they have to agree, hey, we want to be part of you. Then UN would understand where we are coming from.
And you know what? You know that is not a verbal agreement. It's not something you gather youth and say, agree. They say, hey, we are with you. It has to be another formal declaration. The world is being governed by laws. My people say, God has said, this is how we want to operate with laws and declarations. When you want something, gather yourselves, make a formal declaration. Present it, we discuss it, and then we adopt it. So you cannot do things, that's what I hate disorganized way. You cannot create the same problem you're trying to solve. We are already crying that we were not part of the formation of Nigeria. That we just slept and woke up and somebody said, you are part of a nation called Nigeria. You can't do the same, you cannot make the same mistake over other people. You cannot say, you are part of the nation. I declare you, the inside. Without them, you sitting with them, having a prior discussion, and they will agree on what terms are we coming together. What are the things we need to do together? What is for me and what is for you? We agree, then we make a formal declaration and then move to UN. This is the process. You don't form constitution on top and then force it on the people. Constitution starts from down. Nation building starts from down. Then you go up. My people, learn so that you will not be duplicate. Please go ahead.
Absolutely. And these are the protocols that are in place. If there's no skipping them, we mentioned this last week. That is like telling a child to start running without sitting and without crawling. So there is a process in place, and that's what we want people to understand. So that they're not thinking we're here to castigate anyone. We're just asking for things to be done right. Look at our people now. Look at this stupid coronavirus and all these things that some idiot invented somewhere to terrorize. As far as I'm concerned, this is a bioterrorism. So if you're like, call it whatever you want to call it, be political correct about it. This is bioterrorism to destroy the world's economy so that somebody else will end up on top. So, and our people have to suffer the consequences because we are not ready for anything. We are not even ready for a weather disaster, talk less of a bioterrorism disaster. So it is sad, my sisters. It is sad. So, Sister August, I think you should continue.
Okay, I'll continue. Article 11. We're starting from Article 11. Indigenous peoples have the right to practice and revitalize their cultural traditions and customs. This includes the right to maintain, protect, and develop the past, present, and future manifestations of their cultures, such as archaeological and historical sites, artifacts, designs, ceremonies, technologies, and and performing arts. Article number 2 of the article says shall provide a redress through effective mechanisms, which may include situation developed in conjunction with indigenous peoples, with respect to their cultural, intellectual, religious, and spiritual property, taken without their free, prior, and informed consent or in violation of their laws, traditions, and customs. Article 12. Indigenous peoples have the right to manifest, practice, develop, and teach their spiritual and religious traditions, customs, and ceremonies. The right to maintain, protect, and have access in privacy to their cultural sites. The right to use and control of their ceremonial objects, and the right to the repatriation of their human remains. Number 2 of that Article 12, states shall seek to enable the access and or repatriation of ceremonial objects and human remains in their possession through fair, transparent, and effective mechanisms developed in conjunction with indigenous peoples concerned. Article 13. Indigenous people have the right to revitalize, use, develop, and transmit to future generations their histories, languages, oral traditions, philosophies, writing systems, and literatures, and to designate and retain their own names for communities, places, and persons. This is so important. I might come in here. We have the right to our own language. We have the right to write our own things in our own way. So I believe indigenous people, you are listening, wherever you are. Now, number 2 of Article 13, states shall take the effective measures to ensure that this right is protected and also to ensure that indigenous peoples can understand and be understood in political, legal, and administrative proceedings, where necessary through the provision of interpretation or by other appropriate means. Yeah, Sister Munachi, go ahead.
Yes, right. My indigenous people, they have the right to maintain their culture, like this article mentioned. We also have the right to retrieve stolen properties, anything that belongs to us for our benefit. Currently, we have a lot of our artifacts, our art somewhere all over the nations. I know for sure they have some in London, like my sister Augusta will say they're enjoying air condition. The even the Benin arts that's supposed to be killing people when he was in Africa. Yeah, when he got to London, he started enjoying air condition and he wasn't killing anybody. I don't know why he didn't wipe those people out as they're coming to see it. So these people, they have stolen our artifacts, stolen our things, whatever you can think of, taking it to their so-called museum and collecting money. Mind you, going there is not free. You have to pay before you go in to see what our forefathers left us. And then when you go to theirs, they have their own things that their forefathers left. So there's this show that is on TV. It's like traveling the world. And you can see buildings in Germany from 800 years ago, my people. 800, I can't even wrap my head around it. 800 years ago, the Queen's house and the King house in the castle is still the same there. The cup they're using is still there. The bed they laid on 800 years ago, Sister Augusta, is still there.
I know.
The arts, everything is still there. And these people came, it wasn't that they took all our resources and our artifacts back to their country. They are busy still sucking things in our ground. What kind of right do we have for indigenous people when these armed robbers, live armed robbers, people that are living on the blood of other people, the queen and her family, living on the blood of other people, and nobody is saying anything? They are still singing "All Hail the Queen."
I know.
All hail the queen that is living her life is literally on the blood of other people. For this, their land is not enough. They're going around. They even they're so greedy. They even want to colonize their brothers and sisters in Ireland, trying to kill them and take their resources. That's how greedy these evil Umwekwensu that will be killed by this coronavirus. That's how evil they are. Taking and taking and taking. The UN recognizes that as indigenous peoples, because it's not just talking about one group, apparently there's so many indigenous people. And if you look, almost of all these indigenous people, they tend to be domiciled in Africa somewhere. That we have the right to retrieve the things that have been stolen for us. But again, guess what? There is a protocol. That's why no sentiment is going to give it back to us. No putting them on notice will give it back to us. No yelling will give it back to us. We just have to go through the process. We need to understand. That's why we are reading these documents. For each and every one of us to understand what these people are saying. And it's like the Bible. Bible says that you can convict God by using his own word. Yeah. When you're praying, you say, you told me, or you told my forefathers that blah, blah, blah will happen and that will happen. So that's what we're telling the UN now. You have the indigenous people's right written in your encyclopedia somewhere in your word. And guess what? The so-called Africans that cannot read are reading it. We want our rights. We want the right of these indigenous people. We want the mayhem to stop. We want the hunger to stop. We want the pictures of our children with protruded stomach and runny nose and flies on their face to stop. Because God has given us enough resources to even take care of the whole world. Talk less of a continent.
Yes.
We must do the right thing. The right of indigenous peoples. We must do it. We are going to use their own word against them. We are going to use their own word to convince them to make that change that we are looking for. But we have to follow the due process. And these people do not go by sentiment. That's why we've been dying in Africa. They don't care. It doesn't stop them from taking their coppers through the cell phone. I was opting to see a brother digging for copper in the ground. The thing collapsed. And they weren't able to pop this boy out. Yeah. They don't even give them enough. Do you know how they were able to go in that hole? They will give these children will go and buy tramadol and take it with all kinds of drug and alcohol so that they will be numb and not have any fear when they are walking in that tunnel. Because any moment you can die. The tunnels are so shaky that if you hit the wrong place, they are dead. And these are documents. They are the one doing all this stuff. It's on YouTube.
Funnily, the same one. They're the same one doing the documentaries. They're the same one showing it to us.
Yeah, because they want you to use your brain to start understanding what's eating your grapes, like somebody would say. Yes. From underground.
It's not hidden. It's not hidden.
Right.
So, Doctor, please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes, please. So that was Article 13. Now we're in Article 14. Indigenous peoples have the right to establish and control their educational systems and institutions, providing education in their own languages in a manner appropriate to their cultural methods of teaching and learning. Number 2, indigenous individuals, particularly children, have the right to all levels and forms of education of the state without discrimination. Number 3, states shall, in conjunction with indigenous peoples, take effective measures in order for indigenous individuals, particularly children, include.
What happened?
Sister Augusta.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where did I stop? Please?
Your audio went out. The last sentence.
Okay, let me read that number 3 again. States shall, in conjunction with indigenous peoples, take effective measures in order for indigenous individuals, particularly children, including those living outside their communities, to have access, when possible, to an education in their own culture, and provide that in their own language. Article 15. Indigenous people have the right to the dignity and diversity of their cultures, traditions, histories, and aspirations, which shall be appropriately reflected in education and public information. Number 2 of Article 15. States shall take effective measures in consultation and cooperation with indigenous peoples concerned to combat prejudice and eliminate discrimination, and to promote tolerance, understanding, and good relations among indigenous peoples and all other segments of the society. Article 16. Indigenous peoples have the right to establish their own media in their own languages and to have access to all forms of non-indigenous media without discrimination. Number 2 of Article 16. States shall take effective measures to ensure that state-owned media duly reflects indigenous cultural diversity. States without prejudice to ensure full freedom of expression should encourage privately owned media to adequately reflect indigenous cultural diversity. So
again, we want to emphasize that states here refer to the nation where you're domiciled. Okay, so
exactly. And you find out that all nations and peoples all over the world are already exercising this right. Germany, France, Japan, China, South Korea, they all have education system in their language. Mm-hmm. They're already doing it. They teach their people in their native tongue.
Exactly.
They have their media in their native tongue. So all these things they're saying, they're already doing, except Africa. It's only in Africa that we're still teaching our children with educational system that is foreign to us. You see, as Africans, we are more of practical. We learn better. You do. I see it. Then I do it. We are not more with memorizing things, reading this. We can't read it. It's a problem to us. Now you have educational system where you have to memorize and do. It's not coming to fight the war from the back. So even our media, and what this declaration is saying is that we have the rights. We have that right. They agree with us. So you're not the one putting them on notice. They agree with us that yes, you have the right to teach your children in your own language. You have the right to set up media in your own language. You have that right already. It's just that you have a guideline, as Sister now will say. There are protocols. Because we don't want you to be discriminatory. We don't want you to be like jungle justice, doing things anyhow, killing people. When somebody disagrees with you, you go and kill the person. Even like what my brothers and sisters are doing on social media, if somebody says, I will not worship who you're worshiping, they'll say, oh no, you must worship. You don't have a nation already. You're forcing your idol on me. I say that's your idol. And you have right to have an idol. But what right you don't have? The right you don't have is to force me to worship your idol. Exactly. Because where your right stops is where my own right starts. Nation building, we have all these rights. But you need to understand your own rights so that you know how to limit yourself in your domain. Exactly. You want your nation, but your neighbors also have rights to nationhood. You cannot build your own nation and destroy their own nation. UN says no to that. And they have made a formal declaration about it. They say, we don't have problem with you wanting a nation of your own. It is your right. Then you have to follow this set down guidelines, this rules. That's all.
Absolutely. One of our viewer here says UN in all ramifications has violated its own doctrine. My dear, you can say that again. They have violated because they thought we would never read this thing, so we don't know what's going on. We don't know we have rights. After all, we've been teaching our children in foreign languages, forcing them to speak other languages except for our own. So they're like, these people are lost. Their rights is there, but they don't even know they can implement those rights. So this is an eye-opening for our people. that we must engage our minds, we must open our mind, we must read those documents no matter how hard they are. We have learned to, even if it's a lot of documents, divide it into 4. Call your brothers and sisters together and say, hey, sister, read from chapter 1 to 2 and summarize it. Onye Nkozo, read from 4 to 5 and summarize it, and then we'll come together and merge it. However well we can tackle this thing that is holding us down, we must have to do. I do like the fact that they mentioned that we can teach our people in our language. That is the most, because everybody is ashamed of their language, especially in the Eastern region. We are so ashamed of our language that if you see your brothers and sisters, you will see them, you start speaking some Eliza, the same Eliza that is holding us hostage, will be promoting her language. We are afraid of speaking our own language because we don't want to be called out. A lot of us have even gone as far as changing our name to English, changing the whole thing to English. And then when it's Igbo, you will call Chi the Chiti. There will be a D that will cause a lot of confusion. You know, Chiti, yeah, this and that, you know. I'm like, what are you talking about? Look at the Italian name. I was watching this show last night. Their name can stand from here. Policiano. Say, oh, I have to make it sound that way to be sexy. So I'm from Isochi. Maybe Isochi. Yeah, Isochi. Does that sound sexy, guys? Yeah, Isochi wine. That if I have Isochi, it will not be right. My people, we have to get it right. We have to embrace who we are. The same self-preservation that we've always lamented at on this show. It starts with you, because when you love yourself, then you can love others. I don't want someone that don't love themselves to love me, because I don't know what kind of love you. You have to love yourself for me to see that love and say, yes, you can love me like you love yourself. I don't want you to hate yourself and then you want to love me. That doesn't make sense to me at all.
And can I add something there, please?
Yes.
You know, and that's why we're looking at this declaration. Like in America, the Black Americans, they did this. Because when they began to read, initially they couldn't read, so they didn't know anything. So when they were able to read, because for the longest time they didn't want to teach them how to read. So they felt and went and started learning how to read, because they found out that they need to read though to know what is right. Because they had written so many things. This declaration, America has their own declaration when they said that all men are born equal. They have their declaration for their nation. They made it before Black people even joined. But it was written, and my people could not read, and they made sure that they would not read. So that's why people like Sir Frederick began to exchange his lunch for somebody to teach him how to read. He will carry his food and say, teach me how to read this thing. He learned. Then from there, they now saw the declaration. They said, okay, this is your declaration. We will make you do your words. You have declared it. And we want to make sure that you do it. And all this thing began before, in the 60s. You have restaurant, white restaurant, black restaurant. Black people cannot enter the white restaurant. They cannot do. He said, no. This is against your declaration. You declared it.
Yes.
We did not force you to declare it. You declared it, but you implement it. You must implement it. That's how Black people kept fighting over the years. That today we are able to travel to America and live in America. People have done it before us. And that's what we're telling our people. This thing has been declared. It's for us to say, okay, UN, you cannot violate your own declaration.
Exactly.
You have declared it. This is it. It's time to implement it. It's easy. We don't need to go and kill ourselves for it.
Oh, no.
We don't need to go to war and kill our neighbors and do all the things that comes with war and everything anymore. Because it's already been declared. It's just to insist that it be implemented.
And to even emphasize on that, we don't even need to go on the streets anymore. All we need to go is go directly to the UN, not a part of their building, go inside.
Yes, on the same
them
where
and
they're
say,
discussing
hey, this is your article.
Yes.
Who wrote this?
Yes.
Implement this.
Yes.
So we don't even need to shout with our flags outside or do any 1 million man march, no cancel. No need to do all that. What we need to do is go there directly, talk to UN. You wrote this. I be not be saying una write them. Okay, interpret for me. When they give us their own interpretation, then I would understand where they're coming from. Hey, give it to us. It's as simple as that.
But it's Augusta.
Protocol.
Yes. So they are saying that before you can do that, you have to go and agree with your neighbors.
Exactly. Exactly.
The other indigenous peoples. Then sign a declaration. Come together. They too will say, we too, we agree.
We agree.
So it's not what they're making noise or what they're insulting anybody about. You don't insult people to agree with you. You want to marry a woman, you start by insulting her. Do you think that woman will agree?
Or where?
No. We talk and we talk. Then we agree. Then we sign our own this thing that we have agreed. Then we take the agreed document with our elders and then go to UN, approach UN, and sit down on the table, not standing outside. Sit down the way they started divided Africa. We sit down with our own representation.
Exactly.
Representatives. Official ones.
There will be press conferences. Not that, I have gone to talk to UN. This is what they. No.
No.
There'll be video coverage. There'll be press conferences.
Yes.
You know the people that are coming from our community to meet with the UN.
Yes.
The UN's delegate that are also supposed to meet with our people.
Yes.
It's a round big table where everybody will discuss the issues that matter to our people. So it's not going to be like, UN just called me and gave me some imaginary box.
No.
Right now. No,
that's
UN
time.
With Corona. Because Corona has taken over. You understand? So we have to do the needful. We have to do the real thing, which is first of all getting with our people, getting our own declaration, getting our agreement, not forceful agreement, their own consent. Hey, I am willing to follow you. Let's. By the time we're done with that, we can meet where everybody would be used. And I think it's easy process. Time. But I think the agreement now has to be with our own people back at home, the indigenous peoples back at home. As you rightly said, there are different nations under one nation. So we have to agree, then, come over to the UN.
It's as simple as that.
As simple as that.
Article 17, Augusta.
So let's continue. Article 17. Indigenous individuals and peoples have the right to enjoy fully all rights established under applicable international and domestic labor law. Number 2, states shall, in consultation and cooperation with indigenous peoples, take specific measures to protect indigenous children from economic exploitation and from performing any work that is likely to be hazardous or to interfere with the child's education, or to be harmful to the child's health or physical, mental, spiritual, moral, or social development, taking into account their special vulnerability and the importance of education for their empowerment. Number 3, indigenous individuals have the right not to be subjected to any discriminatory conditions of labor and inter alia employment or salary, like example, salary or employment. That would be system. Go ahead.
Right, sister, of course, they all these things down, like my sister, whoever our viewer was, that UN has felt they have violated their own declaration. That we know in Africa that does not apply anywhere where the children are free from not being able to be educated and all that. See all the time happening. They see children during school hours. It's always in the news. So, and this is again why we have to understand this document in order to indict these people. When we get to the table, indict these people with their own words, that our children are not enjoying the benefits that other Westerners are enjoying. Our children are not in a place where they will not be exploited. As we are speaking right now at the zoo, they have reduced our sisters and brothers, especially our sisters, to all they can do to survive now is prostitution. Not because we don't have the resources, not because we don't have the brain power, it's because somebody made the environment impossible for these people to survive. Even when they're doing all that they can do. The worst part of it is that even when you try to work for the government, you do some type of contract for them, forget it. You'll never get paid. Mind you, they will never give you a job because you're from the eastern region. They will rather hire a, what is that? I'm not able to call the person. They'll hire a
factories from somewhere, God knows.
Right, from somewhere before they can give anybody the job. And if they can't find any, then they will give it to us as a contract. Even when they give that as a contract, you still don't get paid. When parents don't have a job, and that's one of the things I was lamenting about with this so-called self-quarantine. When my people don't have a job, In order for them to make ends meet, they have to go out on the street. Well, not even street, they have to go out to an open market where you have to buy and sell in order to survive. So what are we doing again? UN is not doing what they do. And we understanding this document is essential in us using their own words against them and letting them know that they must, like the African Americans did here in America, they must implement those declarations that they put in writing. Make sure you save your copies in case if they go and start deleting some of them. So
no, write me the copy.
We have the copy.
We have our printing 10 pages, 10 copies.
I will come with your own.
So we are going to use it to hold them accountable. Go ahead, sister.
Of course. So let's go to Article 18. Indigenous peoples have the right to participate in decision making in matters which would affect their rights through representatives chosen by themselves in accordance with their own procedures, and as well as to maintain and develop their own indigenous decision making institutions. Is that equity?
Yeah, you see, they're already telling us that we have to be part of these decisions, where decisions are making. Like my people say, what a kwachaka, also raise a rachapium. If you're a dirty child playing outside, you want to eat with your fathers, for instance, you need to wash your hands and come to the table. You don't come with dirty hand, looking ugly and looking whatever, and appear where the kings are eating and say, I want to join the table. So the preparation is what we are talking about. They have already said it, that we have right to choose those who represent according to our culture and practice. So if you are going to approach UN, all the indigenous peoples going with you have the right to choose those that will represent them. It's not you that will come, you, I want you to come. No, the people, Ijo, Ishekiri, Yoruba, because when we talk of indigenous people, we are talking of all the indigenous people.
All the nations, yeah. Because
we are in one nation, sovereign nation called Nigeria. They still recognize it. It's not, though it is illegally existing, but they're still recognizing them. So the people inside have to agree. And they will have their people, they will choose their own people that will represent them. And we're already seeing some of this agreement. We're seeing some of these declarations being made. We are seeing Yorubas coming together, making declaration. We are seeing Middle Belt. We are seeing the job people. We are seeing these things happening, just that my people do not understand what they're seeing. This is what is already going on. Some people are already working towards this, and they're looking at that document for their footstep. They give the document. It's like you're in school. They give you study guide. You throw away study guide. You want to prepare for WAEC. They have study guide. You throw it away and go and pick the one that your mother used, one study used to wrap akara in the village and start following it. Do you think you will pass WAEC? You will not. You have to follow the guideline. You read it. Oh, this is the right. This is this. This is this. So you follow it. Then you approach UN. Like the king and queen that you are.
There we are.
You are rich. You have resources. You cannot be begging. The world is existing on your resources. You cannot be begging. You have the document, like my sister said. You print it out. You come to the table with our dress, our traditional wear, to show who we are. Then you sit down on the table. You don't need to wear suit and tie. Dress how we are to dress.
Yes, and identify yourself as a true person before you go and represent
exactly.
people. Right.
And then we discuss. And then we discuss with us. Please go ahead.
Absolutely. Sister, before you go ahead, we just want to mention that our platform is for those that are willing to learn. We are not interested in miscreants. We are not interested in name calling. We are not interested in people that are in order to shut up. We're here to rub minds together. So if you are not at that level, please exit our platform. We are not interested in all those childish attitude, because it's the same childish attitude that have kept black man in darkness. When there is fire burning, all you can do is say, why shut up with this. No. We have passed that level. We are here to talk about the things that matters to our people. We are here to look for solutions. We are here to propagate information that our people will need to empower themselves. So if you cannot receive that, it's okay. You can exit and join your miscreants platform. Thank you, sister. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was quite needed anyway.
Yeah.
So let's go to Article 19. States shall consult and cooperate with good faith with the indigenous peoples concerned through their own representative institutions in order to obtain their free, prior, and informed consent before adopting and implementing legislative or administrative measures that may affect them. Article 20. Indigenous peoples have the right to maintain and develop their political, economic, and social systems or to secure in the enjoyment of their own means of subsistence and development, and to engage freely in all their traditional and other economic activities. Number 2 of number 20, indigenous peoples deprived of their means of subsistence and development are entitled to just and fair redress. Article 21. Indigenous peoples have the right without discrimination to the improvement of their economic and social conditions, including examples in the areas of education, employment, vocational training and retraining, housing and sanitation, health and social security. Number 2 of Article 21, states shall take effective measures and, where appropriate, special measures to ensure improvement of the economic and social conditions. Particular attention should be paid to the rights and special needs of indigenous elders, women, children, and persons with disabilities. Article 22. Particular attention shall be paid to the rights and special needs of indigenous elders, women, youth, and children, and persons with disabilities in the implementation of this declaration. Number 2 of Article 22. States shall take measures in conjunction with indigenous peoples to ensure that those women and children enjoy the full protection and guarantees against all forms of violence and discrimination.
Wow.
So, Sister
Here we go again. Promises, promises, promises. Indigenous elders, indigenous women, indigenous children, and nobody has gone to implement that. If you look right now in Africa, our elders are not, they don't receive retirement. It's like you retire on your own. God forbid if you don't have children, you're definitely on your own. Are we talking about our children that at 8 years of age, they've been molested by the men that are pregnant and cannot give birth? They are bringing them to hotel room and they're penetrating them with their whatever they have used all over the world, exposing children to diseases, to unwanted pregnancies, doing it all. And these are against the children. And we're talking about the widows that the politicians, instead of creating job and paying the school teacher who lost their husband, the politician will ask you to meet them in a hotel room in order for you to get a day's and meet, not even for the year, just for a day. So the problem is quite, the list is quite unending. It's on and on and on and on and on. And yet the indigenous people declaration here is telling us that the rights of the women and this shall be protected, and none of this is being done. Again, being aware of all of these things is what will empower us to approach these so-called people and insist that these things be implemented, because the lives of our people depend on it. We can be called third world country in the 21st century, meaning that our life is worthless, is less than the other group. And in your document, you're telling us that everyone is created equal and we have the right to happiness, peace, and everything that we want on this earth. Whereas the reverse. So it's time for the truth to be told. Huh?
Can I add a little
Yes,
bit?
yes.
Can I add something to what you're saying?
Absolutely.
If we look at the article, like we said, it's declaration that they've made, and telling us that this is expectation. If you want a nation, if you want sovereignty, if you want freedom for your own indigenous people, you should make sure that you do not discriminate against others. You should make sure that the rights of the elders in your community are respected. The rights of women in your community are respected. The rights of the disabled and children. Because the world, like we said, they're tired of having authoritarian governments like the Nigeria that we have today. you can see what we're going through. What the women, the elders, and everything, like Sister Mona said, there's no social media, there's nothing for the people. Now you want a nation. UN is telling you, in preparation for nationhood, you must take into consideration the rights of these elders, the rights of women, the rights of children, the rights of disabled, before you approach UN. Before, not after. You will not tell UN, this is the type of government we want, we will have when we finish. When do we finish and everything, then we will now do it. They are saying, do it. Put the things in place. As you're coming to approach us that you need a nation, put these things into consideration and we see it. But like Samuna said, right now, the black man does not understand that the woman has rights. He's here to understand it. The black man is here to understand that children have rights. And that's why UN is telling us. So the ball is actually on our own court, not on UN's court. UN has done the right thing by putting up declaration. This is the protocol that you need to follow. All we need to do as a people is to go and do our own homework. And in order to encourage our people, we are not saying that some people are not doing it. It's just that we need to understand that we need more effort. The people that understand this protocol, they are few. A lot of people do not understand it, and that's why they're making a lot of noise that will not lead to anywhere, because they just don't know. Ignorance will cripple your mind. But when you know, you'll be able to rules. So we are telling our people, that's why we're taking it out on ourselves, to come and read it, so that we will read it together. You go and print your own copy and read it. When you finish reading it, so that everything you're doing as a freedom fighter, you're following laid down procedures.
Exactly.
Because if you don't follow, nobody will give you audience.
You'll be running in circles.
They won't take you serious.
Keeping
Because you're not yet serious yourself.
Notice does not change anything. They are already been notified.
They know more than you. They know more than you do.
More than you. So, you put your notice. So, we put your notice. So, all those things don't work anymore.
They know. They are the ones doing some of these things now. Some of these things is from their people. They were there when they were incubating it and how to hatch it. They saw. So they know. But there are protocols. You have to respect the rights of the neighbors. It's not abusing them, calling them names, because they have a right to nationhood as well. Exactly. I'm just trying to summarize. Please, should I go ahead?
Yes.
So you can just chip in a little. So you have to recognize the rights of other nations around you, other indigenous peoples around you, the Yorubas, the Shekiri, the Jaws, all of them, as you seek your own right, your own freedom. And then you have to recognize the rights of individuals within your nation, understanding that people have the right to be different. You have the rights of women, the right for women, the rights of elders. Elders are busy, they have rights. You have to put all these things into consideration. Then you are ready. When you have done this, you are ready. You now approach the way. A discussion is not for fight. Why are you fighting what has been already been declared and signed since 2007?
September 13th.
Yes, it was declared and signed. Like Sister Mona said, you don't even need to fight over it because it has been signed. You just need to use the guideline, put your house in order, and approach them for implementation. It's as simple as that. If they refuse to implement it, you continue to insist that they should implement it. And they don't have choice. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. So we have done half of the articles. Hopefully next week we will finish up the rest because I think to 47. Yes.
Okay.
So today we ended. So was it 22 that you ended on?
We ended on 22, so we continue from the 23, after 23 and down.
Okay, good. So, people, so join us next week. We are going to dissect these things. And these are the way maybe we need to start, looking at the problems that are affecting us, looking at documents together and having that discussion, understanding really that we need to have. So if you're not a professional, if you're not a all you can do is to say shut up and do this thing. Don't come to our platform. We are looking for people with brain so that we can actually dive into these topics and come up with a way that we need to go forward. We have lamented enough. We have cried enough. I have been having a sleepless night over this quarantine because I know my people will not be able to survive this. So some of you think it's sitting on Facebook and cursing your elders, which UN tells you that they do have rights. I am an elder to a whole lot of you. I may not look like it. So when you are sitting online using bad words to insult people because that's all that you can do because you are only a miscreant, from our platform. We are educated. We have our doctorate degrees. We are not looking for miscreants to discuss with. So you are not at our level. We have allowed you in before we thought you can learn. And if you can learn, it's okay. Just move on to your miscreants platform. And for those of us that are up to what we're doing, up to speed, please join us because as you learn, you can teach your other colleagues to understand what the issues are so we can move ahead. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you guys next week. May Chukwu Okike Abịama protect our people, especially those at home going through this difficult time. Ka Chineke na-agba ebere ka ihe ọwụla ga-eme ka ihe rute ebe ha nọ. Ka Chineke na-gbochie ma ọwụla dị ụmụnna anyị nke na-enyere aka nwere ihe gọọmenti nyere ha dana ịchụkpu ha n'ime ụlọ kwachie ụzọ. Ma ọwụladị ndị nke ahụ ma ọwụladị the widows na onweghị onye na-enyere aka naanị nwaanyị na-alụ even though na o nwere ndị nwere di ha adịkwa ka ha wụ widows because onwe nke di ha na-emere ha. Chineke na-ekwu nne m lekwe ndị nne lekwe ụmụaka ma ndị a mụrụ ọhụrụ ndị nke ebu n'afọ Chineke na-akpuchie ha na virus a hapụ ịnweta ebe ha nọ. Onwe otu ọla ị ga-esi were gbaa mbọ hụ na ụmụnna anyị gara through this phase. Chineke na anyị na-ayọ gị anyị na-akpọrọ gị isi ala because anyị ma na onweghị ihe nyere gị onweghị ihe niile eme onweghị na-eme ihe na-ekwe omume. Chineke na orukwe na omume bịa mere ụmụnne m ihe na-ekwe omume bịakwa bịa gozie m lekwe ka ha tọrọ n'anya agụ tọchie ike ndị a juru n'ụzọ na-apịa ndị mmadụ ihe yet onweghị nri ebutere ha n'ụlọ. Chineke na marakwa otu ị ga-esi were mee ha. Ana m ayọ gị mee ihe iji wuru chi anyị ọkwa na ihe ndị a ka anyị na-ayọ gị n'aha Chukwu Okike Abịama nwa onye nwe anyị. Ise. All right, our people. Goodbye.
Bye.